Hey everyone, welcome back to Untethered Truth. I'm your host Vince. Well, I'm pretty proud of myself for not getting into pointless arguments made by globe trolls on the last video. I don't mind sharing what I've learned with people who have genuine questions, but however, when I get childish or nonsensical arguments that aren't even based on the evidence that I presented in my videos, I feel like a football player who is running off the field and fighting with some hecklers in the crowd. The hecklers aren't even in the game, and so if I engage with them, I won't be in the game to affect the outcome of that game. So sorry, losers. I don't have time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Today I want to do something a little different than my previous 3 videos. Along with more empirical evidence, I want to discuss some of the blatant lies of NASA and why they themselves are giving everyone who is honest a reason to question the globe Earth. So for all my globe trolls, get strapped in and get ready for this 4th edition of Empirical Evidence for Flat Earth. First of all, I want to make sure to give Taboo Conspiracy and ODD TV credit for the next few clips. The Bolivian salt flats are a surface that has over 4,000 square miles of flatness in all directions. That's just a level, flat plain for thousands of miles. Isn't this just amazing? Thank you, God, for such an amazing patch of land that makes the scientism elite look utterly foolish. One of the guys that flat earthers criticize the most is none other than Neil deGrasse Tyson. I briefly spoke about Neil on my Fight Against Scientism video. Now you're going to hear Neil make an incredibly weird assertion that completely refutes every Earth from space image that you've ever seen. Neil says that the Earth is not a sphere, but an oblate spheroid. So if Neil can say the Earth is not a sphere, and he is your authority on heliocentric cosmology, then why argue with me? Seems like you can troll Neil for a while, who has infinitely more influence and reach than my little channel does. He then says that the Earth is pear-shaped. In case you don't believe me, let's hear it from the man himself.
You know, when you spin pizza dough, it kind of flattens out. It gets wider in the middle. So Earth, throughout its life, even when it formed, it was spinning. And it got a little wider at the equator than it does at the poles. So it's not actually a sphere. It's oblate. And officially it's an oblate spheroid. That's what we call it. But not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
A little chubbier.
A little chubbier.
Yeah.
Chubby's a good word. It's like pear-shaped.
So this is what Neil thinks the Earth looks like? Houston, we have a problem. No photo from space looks like either a pear or an oblate spheroid. In fact, NASA only shows us perfect spheres when showing us images of Earth. So why did Neil debunk the globe Earth? Why is this the guy that NASA sends to speak in public? I don't know, but I'm grateful to have Neil's testimony when making a case against spherical Earth. Let's move on to the next topic. The fact is, we can see things from long distances that should be far below the alleged curve of the Earth. They tell us ships disappear over the horizon within a few miles of the shore. Yet we can see landmarks in various places on Earth hundreds of miles away. Here's a good example of that. Let's look at a few mountains in France. In the French Alps there is a mountain called Barran des Écrins. This mountain is 2.54 miles high. Another mountain on the border of France and Spain is Pic des Finestres. This mountain is 1.75 miles high. The distance between these mountains is 273 miles. If you go to the earthcurvature.com, the downward curvature spanning over that distance is 9.4 miles. If you adjust the difference between the downward curve and the height of Pic des Finestres, the mountain should be 7.65 miles below the horizon. So how do you like that? So let's end this with a frank discussion on the deception of a space jump done by Felix Baumgartner. The famous jump from space happened at 128,000 feet. When Felix jumps, you can see a vast portion of curvature in the video, suggesting that they were jumping from outer space. However, if you look at the video footage from various amateur weather balloons that do not use a fisheye lens, you see a completely different, flat horizon. So it's obvious that people are deceiving you when they show you curved Earth at 128,000 feet. So why would they lie? Well, because they are liars, and they get millions of dollars every year from the U.S. government to make people believe that they are going into outer space, exploring planets, and getting images from probes of the galaxy. If they don't perpetuate these lies, they don't get paid, and they risk serious PR nightmares. That is why the Earth is filled with people who lie about everything.
They made sure to photograph him standing there with a really wide-angle lens, which curves horizontal lines. So in the photo, you see this curvature of Earth's surface, and he said, wow, he's in space, look at that. No, he's not. At that height, you don't see the curvature of the Earth if you are 2 millimeters above this beach ball. You just don't. That stuff is flat.
So at this point, Sphere Earth is on life support, so I don't know if she'll pull through. Now I want to share one more clip from Taboo Conspiracy that adds some additional empirical evidence that Earth is not rotating. Check it out.
According to the globe model, at the location of Felix's ascension, the Earth supposedly spins at the ridiculous speed of 867 miles per hour. Felix's balloon ascent lasted 2.5 hours, which would mean that Felix should have landed over 2,000 miles to the west in the Pacific Ocean if the Earth was spinning. Instead, Felix landed 44 miles to the east, which is the wrong direction, clearly indicating the supposed spin of the Earth had no impact whatsoever on Felix's 2.5-hour ascension in a balloon, despite the fact that the air gets much thinner the higher you go.
So let's recap a few final things from this clip. The camera from inside of the capsule shows a flat horizon. The camera on the outside of the capsule shows a curved horizon. Whoopsie. I guess they forgot to put a GoPro fisheye lens on the inside of that capsule. They almost got away with it too if it weren't for those pesky flurfs who obsess over these details. Additionally, Felix should have landed west of the site he went up from, but instead he landed east of that site. For those who think that the atmosphere moves with the rotation of the Earth, NASA assumes that there is no rotation in the atmosphere to make their flight and launch calculations work. I covered that in the second video when I went over those declassified documents. So that will conclude today's video. Stay agile and stay tuned for more videos on empirical evidence for flat Earth. Peace out. Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video with friends and family. You can follow me on Facebook at Untethered Truth Prevails. You can also find me on Twitter at UntetheredVince. If you'd like to give to me financially, you can go to Patreon, and you can find me there at Untethered Creations. I'm also on Venmo, and you can find me if you go to Vince-Barton-1. Once again, I really appreciate you all for joining me, and I wish you good success in the pursuit of truth. Grace and peace to you all.